This emperor is the god lord of the blazing sun divine kingdom. Zhou Fight smiled. He didn't really care about exposing his identity. With his current strength and influence, even if he revealed his identity, it would only be a little troublesome. For example, if he encountered some trouble, it wouldn't pose much of a threat to him. The god lord of the blazing sun divine kingdom. You're the new lord of all races reserve? Jin Chun was shocked. You know this emperor? Zhou Fight was rather surprised to hear that. Even though we've lived in the demonic dimension for a long time, we're not completely ignorant of the outside world. Jin Chun said coldly. That saves this emperor the trouble of introducing himself. This emperor is only here to make a deal with you. What kind of deal? This emperor wants to kill you and take the chaos divine treasure in your body. In return, this emperor can make the decision to give you Master God, tier advanced grade divine artifact. How'd it go? Jin Chen's eyes moved slightly when he heard that. Then, he looked at the array around him and the eternal mothership behind Zhou Fight and said coldly, I don't see how I can say no. Zhou Fight smiled. He was naturally determined to obtain the chaos divine treasure. How can I trust you? Jin Chen's eyes flickered for a moment before he asked in a deep voice, do you think this emperor lied to you? Zhou Fight asked calmly. Jin Chen fell silent. He could sense that even though they had not fought, it would probably be effortless for the other party to kill him. Coupled with the fact that the other party had many Master God tier spaceships behind him, there did not seem to be any need for the other party to deceive him. Okay, but I want 2 Master God tier divine artifacts, and I want them to be placed at the place I specified. I'll come back for them after I'm resurrected. Jin Chun gritted his teeth and said. He didn't say anything about promises. He was testing the other party's patience and was already very satisfied to receive such benefits. There's no need to be greedy in any case. Dying once would only consume some of his source energy. Cultivating for thousands of years would make up for an existence like him. One closed-door cultivation session was all it took. Okay, this emperor promises you. Zhou Fight smiled and nodded that it was just 2 Master God tier divine artifacts. He didn't feel the slightest bit of heartache. Jin Chen fell silent for a second. How could he not know that it was too cheap? The common people's regal in front of him was probably very rich. However, at this point, he couldn't go back on his word. He could only take a deep breath and close his eyes. He first told him where to place the Master God tier divine artifact before saying, do it. Upon hearing this, Zhou Fight did not hesitate. He immediately swung his sword and beheaded the chaotic divine demons of the divine lightning. Jinshin, dead. He stretched out his hand, and the chaotic divine demons of divine lightning, Jinshin, landed in front of him. Just as he was about to retrieve the other party's spoils of war, he suddenly had an idea. He wondered if this chaos divine treasure would be affected by the effect of his explosive talent. If he could be enhanced by the great explosion, his efficiency in collecting chaos divine treasures would greatly increase. At that time, the time needed to upgrade the territory would also be greatly reduced, even though he would lose the chance to obtain a large number of Supreme God Realm treasures or even Supreme God Realm divine artifacts if he were to use it on the Chaos Divine Treasure. He was not in dire need of Supreme God Realm treasures and divine artifacts. Then, he should prioritize upgrading his territory. The thought of this, as Zhou Zhou retrieved Jin Chen's spoils of war, he silently recited the opportunity to use the explosive special explosion and the lucky star. A text notification appeared. Lord Talent notification. Your spoils of war have been enhanced by Heavenly Fate D. Huang. Perfect loots. Quality +1. Title hint. Your spoils of war have been affected by the title of Strongest Lord of All Races. The number of loots increased by I50°/0. Title hint. Your spoils of war have been affected by the title of King of 10,000 Kings. The number of loots increased by 100%. Lord Talent notification. Your spoils of war have been strengthened by Heavenly Fate D. Huang. Explosive explosion. The number of loots increased by 1,000%. Lord Talent notification. You have obtained perfect loots. 40 Chaos Divine Treasures. Lucky Star notification. You have obtained A special loots, the puppet of the chaotic divine demons, Master God tier advanced grade. Zhou Fight looked at the 40 chaos divine treasures in his hand, and his eyes lit up. Then, he laughed out loud. It actually worked. It seemed that his territory level could be upgraded from a true God tier elementary grade to true God tier intermediate grade tomorrow. This progress had far exceeded his main body's expectations. In addition, the puppets of the chaotic divine demons dropped by the Lucky Star were not bad. The usage of the Lucky Star was not wasted. Feng Luo. You will board an eternal battleship and bring these two master God tier divine artifacts to the place requested by the chaotic divine demons. Then he went to meet us. As for us, let's head to the next chaotic divine demons immediately. Yes, Feng Luo, Bai Yi, and the others immediately said respectfully. Then, they immediately split into two groups and went to do their own things. 4 hours later, Zhou Fight and company successfully found another chaotic divine demons. This chaotic divine demon was called the chaotic divine demon of the Dark Moon. He grasped the power of the Dark Moon laws and was also a master god tier. Advanced grade chaotic divine demon. He had a blood-bone goat's head and blood-colored bone wings on his back. His body drooped with tattered flesh and blood. Above his head floated an eternal blood-colored divine moon. That looked strange and evil. Zhou Fight followed the same old rules. He first came in front of the other party and took the initiative to request to trade for the Chaos Divine Treasure. However, when the other party heard Zhou Fight's words, he did not reply. He only gave a low laugh. Then, he suddenly let out a sharp cry and turned into a blood-colored stream of light that rushed towards Zhou Fight. This was a person who was lawless and fearless. Shriek. An extremely terrifying willpower impact transformed into a moon demon seal that rushed into Zhou Fight's mind. It wanted to destroy his willpower in one strike and enslave Zhou Fight. Zhou Fight's expression turned cold. He didn't see him taking any action. They saw his willpower at the will divine transformation realm instantly transform into a bright saber beam. The snow-white blade radiated an extremely terrifying power of will and the aura of a blade law that could cut through anything. Facing the shadow moon demon seal that was charging towards Zhou Fight's will, it shot out and instantly shattered the shadow moon demon seal. Then, it shot towards the chaotic divine demon of the dark moon without any decrease in momentum. Before the chaotic divine demons could react, his core of will was destroyed by the blade of will, and he immediately lost his breath. The chaotic divine demon of the dark moon was dead. Courting death. Zhou Fight said calmly. The willpower skill that he had just used came from the grade 3 Supreme God Realm willpower skill, Million Blades. Normally speaking, a complete million blades could release 10,000 will blades to combine attacks. However, how could a mere Master God tier advanced grade Chaos Demon God be worthy of him making such a big fuss? He had only used 1/10,000th of the power of this Supreme God Realm will technique. In addition, he had just entered the will divine transformation realm, so he had easily killed this top-notch Master God tier chaotic divine demons. With my current strength, any Master God tier would be instantly killed by me. Zhou Fight thought to himself. He casually waved his hand, and the chaotic divine demon of the dark moon's corpse flew over and landed in his hands. After he extracted the loots, he obtained 4 chaotic divine treasures. This way, the number of chaos divine treasures in his hands had reached 46. Another 4 would be enough to meet all the requirements for upgrading the territory. Zhou Fight nodded in satisfaction and returned to the Eternal Mothership at the same time. Terrence, Hello, tried his first venerable, Master God tier of the Yellow Gold tier Sacred Dragon race, Master God tier of the Radiant Angel race. All the Master God tiers had also witnessed the scene of Zhou Fight instantly killing this Master God tier advanced grade chaotic divine demons. They were shocked, especially Terrence and the others. This was because they were confident that they could defeat this chaotic divine demon. However, it's going to take a while. How could he be like His Majesty, who didn't even move and just relied on the power of his will to easily kill the other party? This made them even more shocked. Could His Majesty have actually reached the will divine transformation realm? Didn't this mean that the most difficult hurdle to become a supreme god realm no longer existed for His Majesty? His Majesty had an almost 80% chance of advancing to the supreme god realm in the future. This probability could already be said to be the probability of steadily advancing to the supreme god realm. His Majesty can instantly kill this top chaotic divine demon. I'm afraid he can easily kill us. The Wisdom Master God Top Birth sighed. Terence and the other Master God tiers did not speak. However, this was already a tacit agreement with Top Bertha's words. However, it was precisely because of this that they became even more silent. How many years had they cultivated? How long had His Majesty cultivated for? They were actually chased to the front by a junior. However, after a moment of silence, they rejoiced that it was good that His Majesty was strong. The stronger the better. This way, they would have a greater chance of relying on His Majesty to become a supreme god realm. They looked at each other and were even more determined to follow His Majesty to the death at this moment. Zhou Fight had already returned to the Eternal Mothership. After Feng Luo returns, we'll return to the divine capital and come back tomorrow. Zhou Fight said, "Yes, Your Majesty." Bai Yun and the others said respectfully. Zhou Fight nodded. Next, he entered his cultivation hall to cultivate. An hour later, Feng Luo has yet to return. Bai Yun and the others realized that something was wrong, even though the Eternal Mothership that Feng Luo was on was the only Master God tier elementary grade battleship and was not as fast as the Master God tier advanced grades Eternal Mothership. It was not so late that they could not catch up. Could it be that he was delayed by something? Right at that moment, Zhou Fight's calm voice reached everyone's ears, to the place where the Master God tier divine artifact was placed. Feng Luo is in trouble. Yes, Your Majesty. The general's expressions were stern as they immediately said respectfully. Then, their expressions immediately turned cold. They actually dared to attack the commanders of their blazing sun divine kingdom. They really had the guts of a bear. Zero, let's go. Bai Yun ordered coldly. Yes, Zero said. Then, he immediately flew towards the place where the Master God tier divine artifact was placed at the same time, about 60,000 light years away from the Eternal Mothership. Feng Luo was wielding a silver divine saber as he fought against the 5 Master God tier enemies. These 5 Master Gods were from the Chaos God race's Big Bull God race, the Meng Bird God race, the Dragon Yang God race, the Roaring Towards the Sky God race, and the Bai Zhe God race. They had 3 Master God tier elementary grade experts and 2 Master God tier intermediate grades experts. What was shocking was that even though the Chaos Gods race clearly had an incomparably huge advantage in terms of the number of Master God tier experts, Feng Luo was still able to rely on his newly advanced Master God tier cultivation base and Master God divine artifact to fight back and forth with these fellows. He wasn't at a disadvantage at all, and he even had some advantages. D*M*. This is just a human Master God tier from the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom. Why is it so difficult to deal with? I feel that this fellow's combat strength can't be too weak even without his Master God tier divine artifact. The Master God of the Dragon Yang God race, Quirrell, cursed in his heart as he fought the expressions of the other 4 Chaos Gods. Race Master God tiers were also extremely ugly. The 5 Master Gods had ganged up on a human Master God who had just entered the Master God tier realm, but they still hadn't taken him down after such a long time. This was simply a humiliation to them. Furthermore, the Chaos Gods race believed in the rule of the strong being respected. If this scene were to spread back to the clan, it might even affect their status and future. Feels so good. It was different from the Chaos Gods races. Master God tier's ugly expression, Feng Luo, who had been surrounded, didn't seem to feel any danger at all. Instead, he seemed to be enjoying himself that he had just entered the Master God tier realm and obtained a new set of Master God tier divine artifacts. This was the time when he needed an opponent. Coincidentally, the 6 Master Gods of the Chaos Gods race had come to surround him. At this moment, he felt as if he had met a talented person and met his match. There was only one word to describe it. Exhilarating. I don't think my message will get out. These 5 Master Gods are quite cautious. They clearly have the advantage in numbers. but they actually set up a forbidden array from the beginning, isolating me from the outside world. Surely His Majesty will not blame me for my tardiness? The only thing Feng Luo was worried about was that he wouldn't be able to tell His Majesty about what had happened here, which would delay His Majesty's schedule. That would be a huge sin for him. I have to go back and report. We have to get rid of them as soon as possible. Thinking of this, Feng Luo's already fierce attacks became even more ferocious. He originally had a certain advantage against these 5 Chaos Gods race Master Gods. He could greatly suppress the other party with a thought. This shocked the 5 Chaos Gods race Master Gods. This guy actually didn't use his full strength just now. Right at that moment, Feng Luo seemed to have found an opportunity and slashed his saber at the roaring towards the Sky Master God tier. The extremely sharp nomological law of saber brazenly attacked. This roaring towards the Sky Master God tier didn't expect Feng Luo to be able to seize such a small opportunity. He didn't have the time to dodge at all, nor did he have the strength to dodge. He was directly beheaded by this ferocious saber. The divine body of the Chaos Gods race was powerful, and their regenerative abilities were also extremely strong. However, they were completely useless against Feng Luo's saber. They were directly killed by Feng Luo. The other 4 Master Gods were shocked when they saw this. Feng Luo, on the other hand, took advantage of the situation to pursue. He was able to gain the upper hand in a 1 versus 5 battle. Now that he was fighting against 4, the remaining 4 Master God tiers were even more powerless to resist. They could not even escape. Therefore, when Zhou Fight and the others arrived, they saw Feng Luo standing in the chaotic airflow, with a saber in his hand, surrounded by the corpses of 5 incomplete Chaos God Master Gods. Bai Yun and the rest were shocked when they saw this. Your Majesty, Feng Luo flew in front of Zhou Fight, knelt on the ground, and said respectfully, Your Majesty, please punish me. I came back late, and even asked Your Majesty to specially return to find me. Ha ha ha, Zhou Fight laughed out loud when he heard that. Then, he smiled and said, What's your crime? Don't tell me this emperor wants you to surrender when you're surrounded by enemies? That's the real disgrace to this emperor. You killed all 5 Chaos Gods race Master Gods by yourself. Yes, Your Majesty. I killed them, all by myself. Feng Luo answered honestly. Okay. As expected of this emperor's subject. He's clearly just a beginner as a Master God, but he can actually sweep through the 5 Master Gods of the Chaos God race. Moreover, there are 2 intermediate Master God grade Master Gods among them. Well done. You've never disappointed this emperor. Zhou Fight was very satisfied. He looked at Feng Luo and felt very emotional. He had long known that Feng Luo's perception was very heaven-defying. Among the old generals present, the first to comprehend a law skill on his own was not Zhou Zhou, Nazario, or any other general, but this seemingly ordinary Feng Luo. Back then, Feng Luo, who was still the 10-directional martial emperor, had relied on his extraordinary tier strength to comprehend a law skill. One Blade Ultimate. With this move, he had successfully broken the true Lord's nomological skill. Exile the world. This would stun everyone present. If it wasn't for Feng Luo's attack, he really wouldn't know how to deal with the true Lord back then. Feng Luo was able to defeat the true Lord on the final battlefield and obtain first place in that event. It could be said that he had done a great service. They did not expect that today. He had shown himself another trick. With his newly advanced Master God tier Divine Spirit Realm and his Master Divine Artifact, even with the help of his Master God tier Advanced Grade God Spirit Inheritance, he could fight 5 Master Gods alone and kill 5 Chaos Gods. Even Master God tiers like Ying Ning and Yuan Song, who were his subordinates, might not be able to achieve such a feat. Not only was Feng Luo able to do it, but he was even able to defeat him without suffering any injuries. This level of comprehension and combat talent was simply inconceivable. He suddenly recalled the inheritance of the Heavenly Blade Supreme God Realm's Book of the God Spirit that he had obtained yesterday. Feng Luo has always been walking the path of the Law of Swords. Perhaps the inheritance of the Heavenly Blade Supreme God Realm is very suitable for him, Zhou Fight thought. He thought for a moment before extending his right hand. He saw a book of the god spirit emitting a vast nomological aura appear. In his palm. It was the heavenly blade supreme god realm's book of the god spirit. As soon as the book of the god spirit appeared, all the master god tier existences present seemed to be attracted by it. Their gazes were fixed on the book of the god spirit, and they could not even bear to look away for a second. Your Excellency Supreme God Realm's book of the god spirit. The first venerable, the primordial dragon, who was the most knowledgeable and had the deepest foundation among the master gods, spoke in an extremely difficult and unbelievable tone. Even though the other master gods, especially Terence and the other 10 master gods, did not say anything, they had the same thoughts and guesses in their hearts. Could this really be the Supreme God Realm's book of the god spirit? Were they dreaming the treasure that they had dreamed of appeared in front of them unprepared? That's right. This is a grade 3 Supreme God Realm book of the god spirit. He is from the Supreme God Realm, the heavenly Blade Supreme Excellency with the highest attainment in the law of sword. Zhou Fight glanced at the gods and did not hide anything. He said it directly. The master god tiers immediately fell silent upon hearing this. They had naturally heard of the heavenly Blade Supreme God Realm. That person was the number 1 existence in the law of swords, even though he was only a grade 3 Supreme God Realm. Because of his powerful strength, he was famous even among grade 4 Supreme God Realms. He did not expect His Majesty's Supreme God Realm God Spirit inheritance to be this God Spirit's inheritance. They looked at the book of the God Spirit, the fanaticism in their eyes almost turning into tangible flames. However, Zhou Fight did not seem to notice the fanaticism in the eyes of the Master God tier present. Instead, he looked at Feng Luo, who was staring blankly at the Heavenly Blade Supreme God Realm's book of the God Spirit at that moment. As he looked at the book of the God Spirit, it was as though he had seen the end of his nomological path. He had a premonition. This Heavenly Blade Supreme God Realm's book of the God Spirit should be extremely compatible with him. If he obtained the book of the God Spirit and embarked on the path of the gods inherited from the book, he might be able to use this path of the gods to walk towards the ultimate goal of the gods, the Supreme God Realm. Feng Luo. At this moment, Zhou Zhou's voice sounded. He sounded amused, as if he was very satisfied with Feng Luo's current expression. It seemed that this Heavenly Blade Supreme God Realm's book of the God Spirit was indeed extremely compatible with him. He had made the right choice. Zhou Fight thought to himself, "Your Majesty, I'm here." Feng Luo snapped out of him daze and hastily said respectfully, "All right, you defeated 5 master god tiers of the Chaos God race. Good job. He didn't embarrass our blazing sun divine kingdom. I'll reward you with this Heavenly Blade Supreme God Realm's book of the God Spirit. I hope that after you accept the inheritance, you can surpass yourself again. At the same time, you will be worthy of this Supreme God Realm inheritance." Zhou Fight said. Feng Luo couldn't believe his ears. Not only did His Majesty not blame him for delaying his return, he even said that he had done a good job and rewarded him with this Supreme God Realm inheritance. That was the inheritance of a Supreme God Realm God Spirit. Feng Luo was no longer the same as before. Under the influence of the Myriad Races Inheritance Tower, he had long known a large number of secrets in the Myriad Worlds. He naturally knew how important the inheritance of the Supreme God Realm God Spirit was in the Myriad Worlds. That was a legacy that even the original Spirit race, the Chaos Gods race, and the Shepherd's God race might not have. Not only did His Majesty have it, but he also bestowed it to him, according to what he knew. Even His Majesty's most trusted Legion commander, Bai Yun, didn't receive such treatment, right? Even His Majesty's most trusted Legion commander, Bai Yun, didn't receive such treatment, right? Thank you for the reward, Your Majesty. I will definitely live up to His Majesty's high expectations. I will definitely live up to the Supreme God Realm inheritance bestowed by His Majesty, he said respectfully. Just as he finished speaking, he felt countless envious and passionate gazes land on him. Among them, Terence and the other top master god tiers had the most attention. Feng Luo could even sense a hint of jealousy in his tone. Upon seeing this, Feng Luo's expression remained unchanged. But HC was actually smiling bitterly in his heart. He naturally knew the obsessions of top master gods like Terence that it could be said that they had chosen to join the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom in order to become supreme god realm experts. Now, top master gods like them had not obtained the supreme god realm's inheritance. Instead, it was him, a junior who had just advanced to the master god realm today, who had obtained the first supreme god realm's inheritance. It would be strange if they were not envious and jealous. However, since he had accepted His Majesty's reward, he was naturally unafraid of everyone's gazes. Therefore, he did not even look at Terence and the others. Just as Zhou Fight was about to hand the Supreme God Realm Book of the God Spirit to Feng Luo, a low and terrifying voice suddenly sounded. In the face of a rare Supreme God Realm inheritance, why are you so wishy-washy? Common people's regal. Since your general doesn't dare to accept your gift, hand him over to me. Boom! In the sky above the Chaos Realm where Zhou Fight and the others were dug, a huge hole with a diameter of more than 1,000 light-years suddenly appeared in the chaotic airflow. Then, a terrifying white claw with a diameter of 500 to 600 light-years flew out of the huge hole and grabbed the Book of the God Spirit between Zhou Fight and Feng Luo at the same time. One by one, the god spirits of the Chaos Gods race and the god spirits of other races surrounded them from all directions, enveloping Zhou Fight and the others in the middle, courting death. Zhou Fight looked up at the source of the huge white claw. Grade 3 Supreme God Realm will technique. Million blades. Activate. A total of 100 million blades instantly formed in his sea of consciousness before shooting towards the source of the white-furred claw. Then, he heard a scream and saw the huge white claw retract at an even faster speed. Huh? Zhou Fight raised his eyebrows in surprise. The owner of this huge white claw was most likely the chaotic divine race's patriarch, the legendary chaotic divine beast, heaven curse beast that even the Supreme Will was jealous of. But even if he was a heaven curse beast, he was only a god spirit of master god tier advanced grade. Previously, he had only used 1/10 0.00000 of the power of the great million blades. But it had already killed that master god tier advanced grade chaos fiend celestial on the spot. Facing an attack from a supreme god realm with 1% of his strength, the other party actually did not die on the spot, but his will was injured. This heaven curse beast looks like it's not ordinary. Zhou Fight thought himself that at this moment, he suddenly saw something. He extended his right hand and saw an item land in his hand that it was a strand of white fur. It came from the white fur on the heaven curse beast's arm. He stared at the white fur as a divine light flickered in his eyes. Then, his pupils suddenly constricted slightly. Perfect gene, he said in surprise. Perfect gene. He had learned this concept from the Book of Life, the divine artifact of the race. According to the information he had learned back then, living beings with perfect genes could have a supreme God realm constitution after they reached adulthood. He could almost call himself a pseudo-supreme God realm expert. Moreover, such pseudo-supreme God realms also had talent that far exceeded ordinary life forms in terms of comprehending laws and willpower, which meant this kind of pseudo-supreme God realm could completely reach the supreme God realm first before turning back to cultivate the laws and will. In this way, he would become a true supreme God realm expert. It could be said that living beings with perfect genes were almost equivalent to having a path to the supreme God realm. Zhou Fight did not expect this either. The heaven curse beast actually had perfect genes. Then, he suddenly frowned slightly. Something was wrong. Even though he had only exchanged blows with the heaven curse beast at the level of willpower from an endless distance, he could also sense that the other party's divine body had not become a supreme God realm divine body. At most, it could be considered a top master God tier divine body, possessing perfect genes but not a supreme God realm divine body. What is going on? Could it be the curse of the supreme will? Zhou Fight suddenly thought of this. Could it be because of the curse of the supreme will? The heaven curse beast did not use its perfect genes to evolve into a supreme God realm divine body. He immediately observed the white fur in his hand carefully. The current him was not only a Lord-type god spirit, but he also cultivated the supreme sacred body that the Supreme Will was cultivating. He and the Supreme Will could be said to be of the same origin. Therefore, even though he was very far from the level of the Supreme Will, he could still sense the majestic power of the supreme sacred body hidden under the white fur. Moreover, he could vaguely sense that this power from the supreme sacred body was indeed suppressing the perfect genes of the heaven-cursed beast. He was not happy after Zhou Fight figured this out. Instead, he became even more puzzled. With the Supreme Will's level, if he wanted to destroy the heaven-cursed beast, it should be an extremely easy task, right? Then why did he only suppress the heaven-cursed beast's evolution and not directly destroy it? Zhou Fight thought for a long time, but could not think of a reason that in the end. It could only be concluded that there was a secret between the heaven-cursed beast and the Supreme Will that he did not understand. He shook his head and stopped thinking about it. It was better not to be too curious about the secret of such an existence. Curiosity killed the cat. When it was time to know, he would naturally know when he could. Then, he was in the mood to look at the surrounding chaos gods race god spirits. Looking at it this way. Good lord. There were more than 50 master gods alone, and only a dozen of them were master gods of the chaos gods race. The other master gods were master gods of the vassal races of the chaos gods race. There were more than 50,000 true god-tier cultivators. Nearly 100 million god spirits came. Most of them were also god spirits of the people of foreign races. Only about 1/5 of them were god spirits of the chaos gods race. Good God. All troops move out. Zhou Fight was amazed. However, he did not panic. Then, his expression turned cold. What are you doing? He said coldly. Common people's regal. A master god-tier advanced grade of the chaos god race stepped forward. His expression was cold as he looked down at Zhou Fight. You came to our chaos gods race's territory without even greeting us. Furthermore, you killed our chaos gods race's master god tier in our territory. Are you provoking our chaos gods race? Zhou Fight sized up him and coldly said, Who allowed you to speak to this god lord from a high place? Arrogant. This master god tier of the chaos gods race clearly did not expect Zhou Fight to say that. However, before he could open his mouth, he heard a loud boom that a pure white bolt of lightning suddenly tore through the chaotic airflow and shattered the chaotic divine lightning. It landed on the other party's body and blasted him into powder on the spot, dissipating in the chaotic airflow that a supreme and vast aura descended upon this chaotic domain. All the god spirits looked up at this moment at a pure white eye emitting. Vast heavenly might was floating above the gods that it was the symbol of the supreme will, supreme eye. The supreme eye looked indifferently at the chaos god army below, as if the other party dared to say anything wrong, the next supreme lightning would strike the other party's body and shatter his soul. The chaos gods race's master gods were shocked when they saw this. Only then did they react. The human lord in front of him was no longer just the former common people's regal. He was now the reserve of the 4 lords of all races and had a chance of inheriting the supreme position of the supreme will in the future. Wasn't provoking the other party equivalent to provoking the supreme will? When they thought of this, they silently looked at the master gods of the chaos gods race who had just been killed by the supreme lightning. That we can't help you with your death. Under the deterrence of the supreme eye, these chaos gods race god spirits had no choice but to fly lower until they were even lower than Zhou Fight. While the chaos gods race beings felt extremely aggrieved, they had no choice but to accept the reality before them. In the face of the Lord of all races reserve forces, they indeed could not be as overbearing as they were to other races. Meanwhile, Zhou Fight looked at the master god-tier chaos gods who had been reduced to dust with an indifferent expression. He was actually so disrespectful to a reserve lord of all races after being a god spirit for so long. He deserved to die. He took out the supreme holy sword and pointed the tip of the sword at the master god tiers of the chaos gods, revealing a faint smile. Everyone, since you think that I've offended the so-called dignity of the chaos gods race by coming here, then why don't we start a battlefield and kill each other to determine the truth with the outcome of the war? Don't worry, This emperor will not use the privileges of the Lord of all races to bully you. Zhou Fei's words were extremely arrogant. He seemed to be pointing at the other party's nose and saying, "Come on, if you're not convinced, let's fight." Deputy Patriarch. Destroy them. When has our Chaos Gods race ever suffered such humiliation? One of the master gods of the Chaos Gods race could not take it anymore. He came to the side of the Deputy Patriarch of the Chaos Gods race and said through gritted teeth, the Chaos Gods race's Deputy Patriarch was called Xian Shun. He was also a top master god from the Golden Crow race. That moment, his expression was gloomy, but he was a little hesitant. Start a war with a lord of all races? Even if the other party said that he wouldn't use the privilege of being a reserve member of the lord of all races, he wouldn't dare to do so casually. And most importantly, he had just seen with his own eyes that his patriarchs will have been injured by a single angry shout from the other party. That was the strongest expert of the Chaos Gods race. Even he was repelled by the other party in one move. Unless he used his clan's foundation, he would probably not be able to deal with the other party. Do you want to use that? The Chaos Gods race's Deputy Patriarch was very hesitant. That item was one of the strongest accumulations of the Chaos Gods race. Every time they used it, there would be one less accumulation. Unless he faced the true crisis of extermination. He really didn't wish to use that item at this moment. He seemed to hear a voice that only he could hear. After he heard this, his expression changed slightly. Then, after a few seconds of silence, he looked at the Common People's Regal. Common People's Regal. About today, the Chaos Gods race will not bicker with you seeing that you are a reserve member of the Lord of all races. However, from now on, you are not allowed to kill Chaos Gods race citizens for no reason. If you kill the people of the Chaos Gods race for no reason again, even if you are a reserve member of the Lord of all races, we will do everything we can to destroy you. Even if this matter is brought to the attention of the Supreme, we will not back down. Xian Shun said in a deep voice. That will depend on whether the people of the Chaos Gods race provoke us. This emperor also doesn't want to kill a few master gods of the Chaos Gods race for no reason. However, there are just a few of them who are rushing to their deaths. What do you want this emperor to do? Zhou Fei said calmly. Did not back down at all. I will restrain the people of the chaotic god race. I hope that as a reserve member of the Lord of all races, you can also restrain your subordinates. Xian Shin said. Zhou Fei nodded lightly. There's more. Please, hand over our worshipped master god's corpse to us. Xian Shin looked at the 5 Chaos Gods race master god tier corpses around Feng Luo and said, this is the spoils of war of this emperor's generals. You want it? Ask him. This emperor doesn't care and doesn't want to care. Zhou Fei said with a faint smile. Xian Shun and the other members of the Chaos Gods race immediately turned to look at Feng Luo. Even though Feng Luo was only a master god who had just advanced to master god tier elementary grade at this moment, he faced the primal chaos divine lords, master god tiers of the people of foreign races, and the sea of other god spirits without showing any fear. He pointed at the 5 Chaos Gods race master gods' corpses and said indifferently, these 5 master gods of yours just saw that I was a general of the blazing sun divine kingdom, so they disregarded the truth and tried to kill me. If it weren't for my superior skills, I'm afraid that when His Majesty arrived, he would have seen my corpse. Now that you're here, you want to take away the enemy who wants to kill me without even asking what's going on? You're not even going to give me an explanation. Your Chaos Gods race is really domineering. Furthermore, as enemies, since they were killed by me, their corpses are my spoils of war. Why should I give it to you? You can have it if you want. Show some sincerity. As soon as these words were spoken, the expressions of the Chaos Gods race instantly turned ugly. On the other hand, the blazing sun divine kingdom's side had smiles on their faces. After laughing, Zhou Fei's expression became even more serious. He looked at Xian Shun and solemnly said, if it wasn't for Feng Luo's explanation just now, this emperor wouldn't have known the reason for this. In that case, you can't leave so easily. These 5 corpses are Feng Luo's spoils of war, so they naturally belong to him. Apart from that, you have to give this emperor an explanation. Otherwise, this emperor will not hesitate even if it means starting a war with the Chaos God's race. Otherwise, this emperor will not hesitate even if it means starting a war with the Chaos God's race. On the Chaos God's race's side, especially the deputy patriarch of the Chaos God's race, Xianqin's expression turned even uglier when he saw Zhou Fight's attitude. At the same time, he also felt that the current situation had become very difficult to handle. The situation became even more passive for them. Most importantly, he knew that what Feng Luo said was true, that it was indeed their master god tier who had initiated the siege after seeing Feng Luo, common people's regal. What do you want? Xianqin stared at Zhou Fight. He wanted to bite the other party to death. The other party had clearly killed the 5 master gods of the Chaos God's race, but now they were the ones being threatened ever since the destruction of the Chaos human race. The Chaos God's race had never suffered such grievances. Easy. Compensation. You used the 5 master gods to besiege the master god tier of our blazing sun divine kingdom. Then I'll compensate each of you with a master god tier divine artifact. Zhou Fight said calmly that as soon as these words were spoken, the eyes of the Chaos God's race immediately turned red. The master gods of the people of foreign races who followed the Chaos God's race god spirit looked at Zhou Fight in shock. This newly appointed lord of all races was really not afraid of offending the Chaos God race at all, that he raised such a ridiculous compensation condition. 5 master god tier divine artifacts. Even the Chaos God's race would feel heartache for a period of time. Some of the Chaos God's race members wanted to scold Zhou Fight, but when they saw the supreme eye above their heads, they resentfully retracted their dirty thoughts. Xianqin was silent for a long time before saying, "I promise you." With that, he took out 5 master god tier elementary grade divine artifacts from his world rings and threw them to Zhou Fight. That a final will guard beside Zhou Fight caught it and put it away. "Let's go." When Xianqin saw this, he took a deep breath and turned to speak to the other Chaos God's race citizens. "Deputy Patriarch, are we leaving just like that? When has our Chaos God's race ever suffered such humiliation? Patriarch, let's fight. What's there to be afraid of?" The master gods of the Chaos God's race looked at Xianqin in disbelief. Some of them even said indignantly, "Let's go." Xianqin repeated angrily before suppressing the anger of the chaotic divines. How could he not feel that this was a humiliation? However, his patriarch had already secretly sent a voice transmission to him, asking he to lead the Chaos God's race to retreat and not provoke the common people's regal for the time being. He might be the deputy patriarch, but he could only listen to the patriarch's orders on such a major matter. The human lord that we looked down on back then. In the end, it has become a huge threat to us. If we had chosen to exterminate this human lord with all our might back then, I don't think today's humiliation will happen again, right? Xianqin was extremely indignant. However, there was no medicine for regret in the world. He could only watch as Zhou Fight flaunted his power in front of him and even forced him to pay compensation. As the lord of all races' reserve force, the common people's regal will only become stronger and stronger in the future. I have to discuss this with the original spirit race and the shepherd's god race. We can't let the other party develop any further. So what if this guy is a reserve member of the lord of all races? If you dare to threaten the survival and future of our race, even if you are a reserve member of the lord of all races, we will drag you down and destroy you. Xianqin's eyes were deep as he thought firmly in order to ensure the continuation of their race. They were willing to give up everything, even if they had to resist the lord of all races' reserve forces. The only fortunate thing was that the common people's regal had yet to fully grow up. It was just that his identity was a little difficult to deal with if the other party became a supreme god realm existence, coupled with the lord of all races' reserve armor. Even if the myriad races joined forces, there was probably no possibility of dealing with common people's regal. When the time comes, no matter how unwilling they were, they could only acknowledge his status as a reserve member of the lord of all races and obediently work for him, deputy patriarch. After this incident, our prestige among the subsidiary races will probably decrease greatly. At this moment, a master god tier of the Kuan Peng god race walked over and said in Xianqin's ear, Xianxian glanced at the master gods and true gods of the people of foreign races that AS expected. The way they looked at the chaos gods' race god spirits was less respectful than before, and they had other thoughts that on the surface, he entered the arena with a calm expression, but he sighed inwardly. However, there was no choice. That was all he could do for now. As long as we destroy the common people's regal and the blazing sun divine kingdom, the things we lose will only be returned double. He thought silently. The Chaos God's race left with the allied forces of the people of foreign races. Zhou Fight and the others, and the people of foreign races had different expressions on their faces as they watched the Chaos God's race retreat. It's hard to imagine that the primal Chaos Divine clan, which has always claimed to be a top-notch bloodline race, is scared away by us without even daring to fight. It's hard to imagine that the primal Chaos Divine clan, which has always claimed to be a top-notch bloodline race, is scared away by us without even daring to fight. Times have really changed. Following His Majesty is indeed the right choice. One thought so a long time ago. The soldiers and god spirits discussed animatedly. Most of them were very excited from the Chaos God's race's attitude towards them. It was enough to prove the prestige and status of their blazing sun divine kingdom in the myriad worlds. They were no longer the lords of all races in the past. IT had surpassed the lords of all races and was truly a top-notch lord faction that stood in the myriad worlds. Among the people present, only Zhou Fight, Zhou Marshall, and the other clones looked at each other with disappointment in their eyes. I thought that the other party wouldn't be able to resist fighting us. This is also good. Before we officially start a war with the Chaos God's race in the future, we can weaken a portion of the Chaos God's race's strength. I didn't expect the other party to be so cowardly and actually hold back and retreat. I'm afraid this isn't cowardice. From the expression on his face before he left, I'm afraid he wants to prepare something big for us. Forget it, let's just leave. In any case, our original intention for coming here was to conquer the chaotic divine demons and obtain the chaotic divine treasure. Meeting them is just an accident. That's right, Zhou Fight concluded. He said calmly. The other party wants to prepare a big one for us, so we need more time to develop. We will only become stronger and stronger at an unimaginable speed. We will only be stronger than now when their preparations are done. Now, they are retreating in fear. We will definitely win in the future. Zhou Fight said calmly to AS Zhou Zhou's main clone. His character was confident, brave, good at fighting, and calm. He would always give everyone confidence. It was impossible for him to be afraid. Not long after, a video of this unprecedented war was leaked by someone and circulated to all the races in the world at an astonishing speed. The camera angle in the video was shot from a bird's eye view. For the time being, he did not know who had filmed and circulated this video. However, that wasn't important. What was important was the content of the video. The video started with the scene of the heaven-cursed beast snatching the book of the god spirit. Then, the Chaos God's race army descended. The heaven-cursed beast was repelled, and the Chaos God's race was scared away. In the end, the blazing sun divine kingdom calmly teleported and disappeared from the Chaos Sea. Only then did the video officially end. All the race leaders who saw the video could not believe what was happening. The Chaos God's race, which was one of the top 3 bloodlines, actually admitted defeat in front of the common people's regal. Even though the common people's regal was a reserve member of the Lord of all races and had an extraordinary tier status, it shouldn't be so cowardly, right? They did not believe the contents of the video. However, with the news about this video spread by the subsidiary races of the Chaos God's race, even if the various races were unwilling to believe it, they had no choice but to believe it. The blazing sun divine kingdom led by the common people's regal had truly become a top force that was not inferior to the 3 top bloodline races. From this moment on, the situation of the myriad races in the world had truly changed. After Zhou Fight and the rest returned, they did not rest immediately. After eliminating 2 chaotic divine demons today and experiencing the Chaos God's race incident, he had only spent 1 morning. There was still a lot of time left. He could continue to do other things. For example, conquering some Divine Kingdom Lord factions to satisfy some of the requirements to upgrade to an intermediate grade Divine Kingdom. Upgrading an intermediate grade Divine Kingdom required not only 50 Chaos Divine Treasures, he also needed to complete the 3 conditions of conquering 10 primary Divine Kingdoms under the Crimson Overlord, 0 of 10, conquering 5 primary Divine Kingdoms that were not under the Crimson Overlord, 0/5, conquering any intermediate Divine Kingdom Lord faction, and possessing its true God-tier intermediate Divine token, 0 to 1. This was naturally not difficult for the current Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom. They only needed to take some time out to do it. This spare time is perfect. Hence, after formulating a simple battle plan, Zhou Fight brought by Yun and the rest, and set off again at night. Zhou Fight and the others returned victorious with a huge amount of loot in the Divine Kingdom world. Zhou Zhou, who had already woken up from his cultivation state, was looking at the summary of today's battle. For the entire day, Zhou Fight led his army and fought everywhere in the High Continent to expand the territory of the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom. He conquered a total of 82 beginner-level Divine Kingdom Lord factions, 51 intermediate-grade Divine Kingdom Lord factions, 21 advanced-grade Divine Kingdom Lord factions, and 3 Overlord-level Lord factions. In total, they had eliminated more than 60 trillion soldiers from 62 capital units, more than 150 million God spirits, more than 160,000 true God tiers, and 82 master gods. Such a battle record almost shocked the entire High Continent and even the myriad worlds. No high-level bloodline race could achieve such shocking results in the same period of time. Only the 3 top bloodline races could do this. This also proved once again that the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom's combat strength was indeed comparable to the 3 top bloodline races. And after conquering so many Divine Kingdom Lord factions, the war wealth he obtained was also huge. The army of the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom had obtained a total of about 80,000 capital units of various levels of mist cores, origin crystals, skill books, equipment, and basic materials. There were also 10,232,389,787,688 green bronze tier Lord Talent Crystal Fragments, 92,342 legendary tier and below Lord Talent Spheres, a large number of Lord Talent Crystal Fragments of other levels. There were also 3 capital units, 121,487,821,200 million units of divine crystals from low-tier deity level to high-tier deity level, 2,131,238,799 true God-tier divine crystals, 334.231.231 master God-tier divine crystals, 21,143 for 99,800 000 low-level to high-tier deity-level divine artifacts, 21.23 million true God-tier divine artifacts, 2,288 master God-tier divine artifacts. There were a total of about 8.8 trillion divine spark fragments, God-tier medicinal herbs, God-tier ingredients, God-tier ores, God-tier blueprints, and other treasures. 394.5 million master God-tier herbs, God-tier ingredients, God-tier ores, God-tier blueprints, and other treasures. In terms of insight defection, Zhou Fight and the Lords of the Star Alliance had incited a total of 21 capital units, with 7,676,234,231,233,424 soldiers, 38.181.231 God spirits, 1,092 true God tiers, and 12 master gods. In total, there were 8 master god tiers from the people of foreign races who surrendered. In total, there were 20 master gods. In addition, in terms of the advancement of god spirits, 20,121,231 legendary tier advanced grade soldiers had been promoted to low-tier deity level elementary grade god spirits. There were also 411 high-tier deity level advanced grade god spirits who had advanced to true god tier elementary grade god spirits. Another 4 top-notch true gods of the human race and 2 top-notch true gods of the people of foreign races felt their master god-tier bottleneck and applied to enter the reincarnation sacred palace to cultivate in seclusion in an attempt to break through to the master god-tier realm. Zhou Zhou's original military strength was 63 capital units, 598,715,268,289 soldiers, 99,027,760 god spirits, 24,200 true gods, and 60 master gods. Now, with the addition of these insight defection troops and the newly promoted god spirit powerhouses, the troops under he had reached 85 capital units, 366,383,238,482 soldiers, 157,328,221 god spirits, 27,293 true gods, and 80 master gods. The number of god spirits has exceeded 100 million. Zhou Zhou nodded slightly, feeling very satisfied. The number of god spirits exceeding 100 million was the threshold for the god spirits of the top bloodline races. And when the number of master god-tier subordinates under him exceeded 100, they would officially be comparable to the threshold of the number of master god-tier subordinates of the 3 top bloodline races. He suddenly thought of something as he thought of this. He sensed the lowest potential of the subjects of the divine kingdom. Then, a smile appeared on his face. Sure enough, after Feng Luo became the heavenly saber god. Lord, the lowest potential of the human subjects of the blazing sun divine kingdom had officially broken through the bottleneck of the extraordinary tier advanced grade and reached the epic tier elementary grade. This also means, in the future, as long as the human subjects of the blazing sun divine kingdom embarked on the path of an extraordinary tier and cultivated diligently, their lowest achievement in the future would be an epic tier expert. Good. Zhou was even more satisfied. Then, he sensed that the potential of the human subjects had increased from epic tier elementary grade to epic tier intermediate grade. He estimated how many new master god tiers would be needed to help them improve that in the end. He was astounded to discover that if the human subjects of the blazing sun divine kingdom wanted to raise the minimum potential of the epic tier elementary grade to the minimum potential of the epic tier intermediate grade, they would need the help of at least 5 new human master gods. Good Lord, at least 5 new human master gods. Zhou Zhou clicked his tongue. It was getting harder and harder to increase the lower limit of his potential. Zhou Zhou opened the map of the high continent after reading the war summary. The huge high continent was an irregular oval, and the blazing sun divine kingdom was on the southeast side of the high continent. It only occupied an area the size of a fingernail on the tablecloth-sized map. Currently, the territory of the blazing sun divine kingdom in the entire high continent is only about 1,000th of the entire high continent. With the speed at which my forces are developing, I should be able to capture the entire high continent within 3 months. Zhou Zhou thought to himself. The high continent was the center of the supreme great cosmos. There were definitely huge benefits to occupying the entire high continent. Then, he told Zhou Fight and the others about his decision and asked them to prepare a detailed battle plan. He then returned to the reincarnation sacred palace and took out the supreme holy sword. Preparing to continue comprehending the Lord's laws, the Supreme Holy Sword could increase the comprehension of his Lord's law by 20 times. With such a high comprehension bonus, Zhou Zhou was confident that he could raise his God Spirit realm to the true God tier advanced grade or even master God tier level in a short period of time. However, at that moment, Zhou Zhou suddenly frowned. He flipped his right hand, and the regal sage Dao sword appeared in his hand. What was different from before was that the regal sage Dao sword was actually trembling endlessly and emitting a dazzling golden light. Zhou Zhou was surprised. He saw the regal sage Dao sword transform into a golden stream of light in the next second before he could react. It shot into the sky of the divine kingdom world and immediately disappeared into space. Zhou Zhou was not in a hurry to catch up. He made a mental divination first. After confirming that there was no danger on this trip, He immediately teleported and disappeared in the starry sky of the supreme great cosmos. The regal sage Dao sword was quietly floating here, emitting a dazzling light. Right at that moment, a figure wearing the Emperor Dragon robe appeared. It was Zhou Zhou. He looked at the regal sage Dao sword that was quietly floating in the starry sky not far away. He did not summon it over. Instead, he looked up at the starry sky above the regal sage Dao sword. A divine dragon slowly appeared in the starry sky. His entire body was golden in color. He had deer-like horns, camel-like head, rabbit-like eyes, snake-like legs, clam-like belly, fish-like scales, eagle-like claws, tiger-like paws, and cow-like ears. A pair of golden eyes were vast and domineering. They looked at the golden dragon eyes as if they were staring at the entire supreme great cosmos. That it was the regal dragon. Ao Zun. Your Excellency Ao Zun? Zhou Zhou said in surprise. Even though he rarely met the #1 dragon in the world, he had a deep impression of him. Coupled with the fact that he was the symbol of a regal, it was difficult for him not to have a deep impression of him. Your Excellency, common people's regal. Ao Zun's voice rumbled. I'm here at First Venerable summons to join Your Excellency's blazing sun divine kingdom and conclude a contract with Your Excellency. Zhou Zhou was enlightened and was pleasantly surprised. He did not expect First Venerable's 10 sacred blessings Lord Talent. The contractor of his heavenly dragon contract was the regal dragon, His Excellency Ao Zun. Welcome to the blazing sun divine kingdom. Zhou Zhou smiled. While he had the highest status among the dragons on the surface as the #1 dragon of the dragon race, in reality, the regal dragon's status was actually more extraordinary, even higher than the First Venerable, because the Lord's law was supreme and the path that the regal dragon took was also the Lord's law path, in terms of real status. Moreover, in terms of strength, regal dragons, who were also Master God tier advanced grade, were most likely far stronger than First Venerable. Lords were invincible among their peers after all. The reason why the regal dragon was not ranked among the top 10 Master God tiers was probably because the other party was too mysterious and did not have many records of fighting. Common people's regal. You have the regal sage Dao sword, so you and I naturally have a higher level contract. Therefore, there's no need to conclude this heavenly dragon contract. I'm in a special position, so it's not convenient for me to fight for you with my real body. However, I can become your weapon, the sharpest weapon in your hands. Is Your Excellency willing to accept it? The regal dragon looked at Zhou Zhou and asked. Of course. Zhou Zhou agreed without much hesitation. He didn't lack Master God tiers, nor did he lack dragons. He was not even lacking in legendary dragons. Therefore, to him, it really didn't matter if he signed the contract or not. Now, he was even more curious about what a weapon transformed from the true form of this legendary dragon would look like. Okay, the regal dragon wasn't surprised when it heard this. Then, it roared and soared into the sky. Following that, it transformed into a surging golden light that charged into the regal sage Dao sword and disappeared. Zhou Zhou immediately looked forward to it. He waved his right hand, and the regal sage Dao sword flew into his hand obediently. Zhou Zhou looked over. Divine artifact name. Regal Sage Dao Sword. Grade of Divine Artifact. Grade 1 Supreme God Realm. Enhanceable. Divine Artifact. Law 1. Regal Prestige. As a regal recognized by the legendary tier dragon race, Regal Dragon, you will naturally have supreme pressure when you control the Regal Sage Dao Sword. Any existence in front of you will feel an extremely strong pressure. At the same time, the pressure on any existence will not cause any negative impact on you. You can take the initiative to activate and turn off the effect of this Divine Artifact Law. Divine Artifact Law 2, Regal Charm. You are a natural regal recognized by the legendary tier dragon race, Regal Dragon. You have an indescribable extreme temperament and charm. When you persuade others to submit to you, they will easily submit to your temperament and charm and be willing to serve you until they die. When you want to do something, your subordinates will help you with all their might. Your enemies might even defect from their faction and become your subordinates. Divine Artifact Law 3, Regal Luck. As a natural regal, your luck exceeds 90% of the life forms in the world. You will often encounter good luck in your daily life. When you encounter danger, it will be easier for you to turn misfortune into fortune. Divine Artifact Law 4, Destiny Regal. As a natural regal, you are extremely compatible with the regal law. When comprehending the regal law, your comprehension ability will increase by 100 times. Divine Artifact Law 5, Summon the Regal Dragon. The Regal Dragon is your combat partner. When you need help, you can summon the Regal Dragon from the Regal Sage Dao Sword anytime and anywhere to fight alongside you. Divine Artifact Law 6, Divine Emperor Divine Weapon. The Regal Sage Dao Sword is a Lord Law type Supreme Divine Artifact. The user must be a Lord Law type God Spirit. When using the Regal Sage Dao Sword, the power of any Lord Law skill will increase by 10 times. Prompt 1. The soul has been forced to recognize you as its master. It cannot be removed. Prompt 2. As the grade of the Regal Sage Dao Sword continues to increase, the effects of its various divine artifact laws will also increase in enhancement. It can be upgraded to Master God Tier Advanced Grade. After Zhou saw the effects of this divine artifact, he immediately sucked in a breath of cold air. After this Regal Sage Dao Sword fused with the Regal Dragon's main body, it actually directly advanced to a Grade 1 Supreme Divine Artifact. Moreover, it was an enhanceable Grade 1 Supreme Divine Artifact. In fact, the last notification even hinted that this Regal Sage Dao Sword could at most be raised to the level of transcending a sacred artifact. What kind of concept was transcending a sacred artifact? That was a supreme sacred artifact that only supreme existences with wills could possess. As far as Zhou Zhou knew, in the entire universe, only the supreme will and the Crimson Overlord had reached this level. In fact, at this level, they could already break free from the restrictions of the universe and go to the world of the illusionary race. However, for some reason, they did not choose to do so. Instead, they remained in the supreme world as an existence of the will. The Supreme Will had a transcendent sacred artifact called the Supreme Book. Crimson Overlord also had a transcendent sacred artifact called the Scarlet Sage Seal. Other than that, even the other will-level existences of the two universes did not have any transcendent sacred artifacts. And now, he actually had an embryo that transcended the sacred weapon, even if it had not grown to the level of transcending. The sacred artifact, its preciousness was enough to make countless will-level existences go crazy over it. Your Excellency Regal Dragon, you've really given me a huge gift. Zhou Zhou looked at the Regal Sage Dao Sword in his hand and muttered to himself. Zhou Zhou looked at the Regal Sage Dao Sword in his hand. The Regal Sage Dao Sword's ability was also very shocking apart from its extremely high growth potential. Divine Artifact Law 123 did not change from its previous ability, so there was no need to say anything for the time being. The natural regal effect of Divine Artifact Law 4 actually increased his Lord's Law basic comprehension from 10 times to 100 times. This increase was even more exaggerated than the increase that the Supreme Holy Sword had given him. It was unknown how exaggerated his comprehension of the Lord's laws had become. But as for the Regal Dragon summoned by Divine Artifact Law 5, it could only be summoned once in the past. Moreover, after summoning it once, this Divine Artifact Law would disappear forever. Yet, this Divine Artifact Law had actually become a permanent summon. Its use could be said to have greatly increased. As for the Regal Divine Weapon with Divine Artifact Law 6, it was a newly added Divine Artifact Law. The effect of this newly added Divine Artifact Law was also very simple and violent. The effect of any Lord Law skill would increase by 10 times, which meant, be it the King, the Myriad Method Star Palm, or the All the Land in the World Belongs to the King, the effects and power of these three Lord Law skills would increase by 10 times because of the Regal Sage Dao Sword. It had to be known that these three law skills were Zhou Zhou's three strongest trump cards to begin with. By increasing their power by 10 times, it also meant that Zhou Zhou's strength had undergone a new surge, as expected of an enhanceable Supreme Divine Artifact with Lord Laws. This Supreme Divine Artifact alone is not inferior to the enhancement of 10 Supreme Divine Artifacts combined. Zhou Zhou looked at the transformed regal sage Dao sword in his hand with burning eyes. After watching for a while, Zhou Zhou teleported back to his world of gods without hesitation and entered the reincarnation sacred palace to begin comprehending the Lord's laws. He wanted to take a look at how much had his comprehension improved with the enhancement of the supreme holy sword and the regal sage Dao sword. The next day, in the reincarnation sacred palace, Zhou Zhou's divine sense left the time world and he slowly opened his eyes. After he woke up, he immediately sensed the changes in his body. Soon, shock and surprise appeared on his face. I advanced to true God tier advanced grade God spirit in one night. Moreover, I feel like I'm not far from breaking through the Master God bottleneck and entering the Master God tier level. Zhou Zhou was shocked. Point one had to know that it was impossible for him to improve his nomological comprehension and cultivation realm so much in a short night, even with the help of the importation scroll and the reincarnation sacred palace. However, he had actually easily reached this stage without relying on the importation scroll. My current Lord's Law comprehension is simply unbelievable. I feel that even if I'm comprehending and cultivating the Lord's laws at the Master God tier level now, the efficiency of my nomological comprehension won't be much worse. I'll still have genius level comprehension. When I reach the Master God tier realm, I'm afraid I won't waste too much time in the Master God tier realm. Moreover, I'll advance to the Supreme God realm in a very short period of time. When Zhou Zhou sensed this, he was even more shocked. His current comprehension and aptitude were ridiculously terrifying. The Supreme God realm would probably only be his bottom line as long as nothing happened to him midway. He felt that he had a high chance of reaching the level of willpower. And this was not over yet. He had a thought. A brand new law skill information interface appeared in front of him. Law skill name: Land of Earth, a minister of the king. Law skill quality: True God tier advanced grade. Introduction to law skill power. When you activate this law skill domain, the living beings in the domain will be affected by your domain and quietly, gradually change their thoughts and will. In the end, they will become subjects that submit to you from the bottom of their hearts. You can consume half of the chaotic sacred power in your body and instantly change the thoughts and will of the life forms in the domain, turning them all into subjects loyal to you. Currently, you can affect life forms below the true God tier advanced grade. After Zhou Zhou finished reading, he couldn't help but click his tongue and mutter to himself, all the land in the world belongs to the king can directly turn the territory of other races into its territory. Now, this land of earth, a minister of the king can forcefully transform the subjects of other races in the domain into his own. These two law skills are really a perfect match, and it can be used as a combination skill. Once I use this combination skill, most of the other party's territory and most of the subjects will probably instantly belong to me. I'll be able to subdue them without fighting. Zhou Zhou felt that these two law skills should be able to save he a lot of time in the future, especially when it came to conquering other races. The Supreme Holy Sword and the Regal Sage Dao Sword have simply enhanced me too much. After a night, I advanced to the true God tier realm and comprehended a new law skill. I didn't even dare to think about this progress in the past. After Zhou Zhou sighed, he began to get down to business. He first used his talent doppelganger technique to create his 8th clone. This avatar was named Zhou 8. The name was very sloppy and casual. However, Zhou 8 surprisingly accepted this name. Zhou Zhou arranged for him to be assigned to Zhou Manage so that he could help him deal with the daily government affairs of the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom, seeing that he had a good personality. Now that the territory of the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom was getting wider, the various political matters were getting more and more complicated. Zhou Manage was very busy handling so many government affairs alone. Even with the help of Zheng Yuanqi and the other court officials, it was time to arrange a helper for Zhou Manage. He couldn't be busy with everything. The external and internal matters of the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom were equally important. After making arrangements for Zhou 8, Zhou Zhou flew to Mugu and obtained the 32 capital units recruitment books and class change certificate with Wu Xian. Then, He came to the gate of summoning and used the 16 capital units recruitment books to recruit 16 capital units recruits, including the number of soldiers in my original 85 capital units. My soldiers have officially broken through 100 capital units and reached the total strength of 117 capital units. The troops of the capital units. This number of troops is also comparable to the total number of troops of the 3 top bloodline races. Zhou Zhou nodded in satisfaction. Now, their blazing sun divine kingdom was already on par with any of the 3 top bloodline races in terms of the number of ordinary soldiers and ordinary god spirits. Next, as long as the number of true god tier and the number of master god tier were equal, he would really not be inferior to the 3 top bloodline races on the surface. Of course, Zhou Zhou was confident that even if their blazing sun divine kingdom was inferior to the top bloodline races in terms of the number of master god tier and true god tier, their true combat strength was no longer inferior to the 3 top bloodline races. It was absolutely impossible to defeat him unless the 3 races joined forces. This was also the reason why Zhou Zhou allowed Zhou fight and Zhou Wu to lead the army to the Chaos Sea to eliminate the chaotic divine demons. He was not afraid that the Chaos God's race alone could pose any threat to Zhou fight and Zhou Wu. Then, he spent another 2 high-tier deity-level elementary grade divine crystals to summon today's new subject. In the end, he realized that he had summoned more than 225 million new subjects today. He summoned more than 33 million subjects than usual. Furthermore, among these new subjects, there were 13 true god-tier elementary grade god spirits summoned by the glory of the Pioneer 12. Zhou Zhou nodded slightly. Not bad. Then, he spent another 100 low-level true god-tier elementary grade divine crystals to summon 66,666,660 pure-blooded dragons. Perhaps it was because he was too lucky, or because the probability of the original Dragon Abyss summoning a legendary dragon had increased. He actually summoned another legendary dragon among the legendary dragons summoned today. Zhou Zhou looked at the legendary dragon. This legendary dragon was more than 5,000 light-years tall. It was completely black and had 3 pitch-black dragon horns on its head. Its dark black pupils were like the eyes of the night. Zhou Zhou looked over and felt as if the world and universe had turned dark. Fortunately, his will had already stepped into the will divine transformation realm. As soon as he fell into the other party's dark will, he immediately broke free, and his soul's will regained clarity. This legendary dragon's will is also quite powerful. It shouldn't be too far off from the will divine transformation realm, Zhou Zhou thought. Then, he looked at the other party. Soon, attribute information appeared. Dragon race, Derator, race, legendary dragon, dark holy dragon, growing. Stage, adulthood, strength level, true god tier elementary grade, true strength, master god tier advanced grade. Skills, dark dragon breath, holy dragon might, law god body, darkness night, law skill absolute darkness, law skill chaos explosion, law skill dark boiling, law skill dark demon abyss, law skill shadow clone, law skill ultimate night, dark language, dragon language magic mastery, dark element magic mastery, dark holy dragon armor, dark holy dragon crown, master god tier elemental. Immunity, awakening degree 100%, master god tier physical immunity, awakening degree 100%, master god tier soul immunity, awakening degree 100%, dark will condensation method, will is like light. Potential, master god tier advanced grade. World limit. Loyalty, 85. Character, cold, heartless, crazy, quiet, worshipping the strong. Pet description, a legendary dragon among pure-blooded dragons, a unique existence in the myriad worlds. It holds the ultimate power of light. In terms of potential, it can be called one of the incarnations of the law of light in the myriad worlds. Dark Holy Dragon, Derator. It's actually it. Zhou Zhou was a little surprised. The Dark Holy Dragon, Derator, and the Light Sacred Dragon. Ingersoll had always been at odds with the dragons. He did not expect that this summoning would actually summon Ingersoll's sworn enemy. He subconsciously looked in Ingesol's direction at this moment. Ingersoll was sleeping on his treasure in the inner world of the eternal mothership. After the dark holy dragon, Darator appeared. It immediately looked up warily at Darator. Darator also raised its head, as if it sensed something, and met Ingersol's gaze. The two dragons looked at each other. Ingersoll suddenly bared its teeth and growled. Darator looked at Ingersoll for a few seconds, then smiled lightly, as if it was disdainful. Zhou Zhou looked at the expression on Darator's face and understood what it meant that it was showing its disdain that Ingersoll had yet to recover to its peak strength and was insufficient to be its opponent. Ingersoll also understood what Darator meant that it was very unconvinced, but it knew that would be asking for torture if it went up against the other party now. Therefore, after letting out a cold snort, it did not look at the other party again and continued to lie on its treasures to recuperate. With the Lord talent of the War Master God, it believed that it would soon recover to its peak strength that time. It would not be too late to fight this guy. The feud between Darator and it could be traced back to the first light sacred dragon and the first dark holy dragon. Therefore, it didn't care much about temporary concessions and victory that it was clearly the same for Darator. Therefore, it didn't bully Ingersoll when it was weak. Zhou Zhou watched this scene and clicked his tongue in wonder. These two legendary dragons actually followed some sort of rules as they fought. How rare! With a thought from him, the dark holy dragon disappeared from the Cosmos Emperor's internal world and appeared in front of him the next second. "Greetings, Your Majesty." The dark holy dragon, Darator said respectfully. Even though it was a legendary dragon, it did not feel arrogant facing this regal who had already become famous among the myriad races in the world. The other party had already far surpassed it as the number one god below the supreme god realm after all. "You're too kind, Your Excellency. I've long heard of Your Excellency's reputation." Zhou Zhou smiled. This was true. The light sacred dragon and the dark holy dragon were known as the twin heroes of light and darkness among the legendary dragons. Legend has it that it also had a combination law skill that could allow the light sacred dragon and the dark holy dragon to erupt with power comparable to a supreme law skill when they joined forces. This mysterious combination law skill allowed the dragon race to avoid many extermination calamities. Therefore, it was a very famous move even in the myriad worlds. Many god spirits knew about this legendary dragon race. Even though the light sacred dragon and the dark holy dragon have a lot of friction on usual days when they encounter a racial crisis and need them to work together to retreat the enemy, they will immediately abandon their past enmity and work together to retreat the enemy. It can be seen that there were no life and death feuds that disregard the survival of their race. "I don't think I need to care about their feud," Zhou Zhou thought to himself. At this moment, boom, 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 6 beams of light that emitted a majestic master god tier aura shot into the starry sky. The god spirits of the myriad worlds were already numb to the point of being used to such a scene. However, they were still a little surprised. That was because there were actually 6 master gods who advanced at the same time. Such a grand occasion had never happened even among the 3 top bloodline races. The Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom had broken a record. Zhou Zhou smiled faintly, though not as excited as he was before. A moment later, the advancement phenomenon gradually disappeared. 4 new master gods of the human race and 2 new master gods from the skeleton race and the Leviathan race came to Zhou Zhou. "Greetings, Your Majesty." X6 The 6 master gods said excitedly and respectfully. "Congratulations on becoming master gods. As usual, I'll give you some small gifts." Zhou Zhou smiled faintly. Then, he waved his right hand and 6 world rings appeared out of thin air in front of the 6 new master god tiers. "Thank you for the reward, Your Majesty." The eyes of the 6 new master gods lit up, and they immediately said respectfully. Then, they received their respective gifts with both hands and entered with their divine consciousness to check the gifts inside. They were immediately so happy when they saw the 6 master god tier divine artifacts inside that they held their breaths. Zhou Zhou chatted briefly with they before releasing them back to the main combat army and prepared to head to the Chaos Sea to hunt the chaotic divine demons.